We're at the beginning of the next generation of VR. PSVR 2 just released and has captured lots of newcomers to the space with its gorgeous OLED panels and next level haptics. It's also pushing AAA experiences and really showing what VR is capable of. We have Apple's first headset potentially being announced this summer, and we have Quest 3 in October. 2023 is a huge year for VR. We know nothing of Apple's headset, but courtesy of Sadly It's Bradley,
hi,
we may know a little about the Quest 3. Thought it might be interesting to take a look at the chipset specs and understand the potential of what the Quest 3 will be able to run. How far will it be behind the PSVR 2 experience? What games can it play? So we're 99% sure the Quest 3 will be using the XR2 Gen 2 chip, which has the Adreno 740 GPU. Strap in because this could get a little spec heavy. Let's break down its potential gaming capabilities. On paper, how does it stack up? It has an 8-core CPU with a base clock of 2.02 GHz, 1 core at 3.2 GHz, 4 cores at 2.8 GHz, and 3 cores at 2.0 GHz. In terms of on-paper specs, this clock sits to be more powerful than a PS4 and very close to the PS4 Pro in terms of base clock. So as far as CPU performance goes, as long as we're hitting the full potential, there's no reason we can't match the original PSVR performance. Keep watching as this is a bit of an oversimplification. To put it in perspective, let's look at the latest Geekbench scores for Android. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is what this chip is based on, tops the charts heavily in every area: single core, multi-core and OpenCL. In fact, the single core performance is higher than my Ryzen 7 3700X, which is mental. Let's take these figures with a pinch of salt, however, until we see real world performance. Now onto the GPU, which is the Adreno 740. It's the fastest mobile GPU currently available, beating even Apple's A16 Bionic. What does this mean in terms of gaming? It's very difficult to look at stats between a mobile chip and, say, desktop GPUs. In theory, your PC equivalent would be the GTX 1650, which is very impressive. It's getting close to what the minimum specs are for most PC VR headsets, the GTX 1060. With eye tracked foveated rendering, they would be able to match it with the rendering optimization potentially. But that's incredibly wishful thinking, as nothing has indicated the Quest 3 will have eye tracking, unfortunately. Now, the best way to do a broad comparison in GPU power is teraflops, a performance measuring figure referring to a processor's ability to calculate 1 trillion floating point operations per second. For example, the PS5 has 10.3 teraflops powering the PSVR 2, which is why you see Horizons looking so delicious and massive and crisp. PS4 on the other hand has 1.84 teraflops, which powered the original PSVR. For comparison, the alleged Quest 3 chip will have 2.4 teraflops, so it's comfortably beating the original PSVR in graphical performance on paper. I know what you're thinking, they're not going to use all the power in the Quest 3, but I disagree. The underclocking in the past has been done on CPU rather than GPU. John Carmack himself said the Quest 2 was using 100% of his XR2 GPU, but only half of the CPU. Recent articles have been claiming that the Quest 3 will be at least 2 times as powerful as the Quest 2, so this would check out. PS4 Pro has 4.2 teraflops to meet that 4K requirement, which shows just how much headroom is needed for increasing resolution. So let's bring us back to reality somewhat. PSVR resolution wasn't great, 960 by 1080 per eye, so you need a lot more power to meet even the Quest 2 standard. Quest 3 per eye resolution is reportedly 2064 by 2208 per eye with the 120Hz refresh rate. This is a very high end resolution and will look crystal clear when paired with the pancake lenses. This should give you an idea on the performance requirements to hit that PSVR standard with a smooth 120 frame performance. We also have to remember using a battery does cause power constraints. Despite the new 4nm process making them more efficient and cooler running, heat limitations also exist, so let's hope they have a solid cooling method too. Both these areas are reasons why the Quest 2 CPU was underclocked, and I think the same will happen with the Quest 3, but perhaps less severely due to the higher efficiency. So from where I'm standing, I see no reason why Resident Evil 7 from PSVR can't come to Quest 3. I also think the GTA San Andreas is still on the way, my theory being it will be announced as a Quest 3 only title. We'll see the open world scope of Quest 3 games changing. I honestly would just be happy with VR ports of legendary games over and over again. Another Skyrim release maybe. If No Man's Sky can run on Switch, can we get a VR version on Quest 3? Maybe pushing it a little there. Surely Phasmophobia can now run on Quest 3. Maybe we'll have solid sim racing games finally. There's a lot of potential and opportunity here. It's hugely exciting. We're not going to see PSVR 2 levels here, but if you want that, then you can air-link to the PC with a new AV1 codec, which this chip supports, so compression artifacts should be even more minimal. On paper it's more powerful than the PS4, but it will include a modern neural processing unit which didn't exist back then. This uses machine learning and AI to assist with tasks to optimise and increase performance, so the paper specs don't tell the full story there either. Above everything else, I'm just looking forward to a smooth experience on Quest. I only own the Quest 2 64GB version when it first launched, and I don't know about you, but the performance across the board is really starting to creak. I'm not sure if if this is the same for the other storage levels and maybe why they stopped production, but 64GB just isn't enough and mine is constantly full, which could be causing my constant loading performance hitches. There's a lot to look forward to, including Meta's appearance at GDC, the Game Developers Conference, on the 20th of March. It seems like a fairly generic showing, but it's the Game Developers Conference, and it'd be the perfect opportunity to announce games or provide sneak peeks. We'll just have to see. Appreciate you watching the video to the end. Subscribe to keep up to date on all things VR. Pop me a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and comment below your thoughts on what you think Quest 3 games are going to look like and the potential for standalone VR. I'll see you on the other side.